Hey guys, Talia here from Work Week Lunch, and today I'm going to get into my intuitive eating journey. I'm going to talk about what I was doing when I was dieting, how I stopped, and also how I broke the cycle of restricting and binge eating and all that fun stuff. So I also would love to hear from you in the comments if you've heard of intuitive eating, if you've ever tried it, what has your experience been? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. Let's get into it. So I started dieting in high school, like probably most of you too, and I remember restricting like crazy. I remember eating cookies and like not even eating them. I'd chew them and just spit it in the trash. Like I wouldn't even let myself have a whole cookie. I don't know why I felt the urge to control what I was eating so much in high school. I've always been in a small body. No one's ever told me that I have to lose weight for any reason or watch my weight. And I guess in some of those ways I have that thin privilege. But I still felt this pressure to be small and be as small as I possibly could be. So in high school, I remember going on some detoxes and cleanses like with my mom, which again was so normal to me. I didn't think anything was weird about it. You know, it was just kind of like a fun thing to do together, why not? And that kind of, I remember feeling the pressure to get super skinny before college. You know, I was going to a new place. I just wanted to look really good. I was really focused on being hot, and I don't know why, it's so embarrassing to even think about that right now, but I just really wanted to be the hot girl on campus. I don't know why it was an aspiration, but I got to my lowest weight ever, and of course when I went to college, I was around all these kinds of new foods and people and social experiences that I was drinking a lot, and I started, of course, gaining weight like anyone else, and I would go to such dramatic measures to restrict my eating, keep my weight below a certain number on the scale, and it affected my social life. I couldn't go to parties without worrying about what I was going to eat before and how much I was going to drink, and binge eating later. I would not eat the whole day, drink a lot of alcohol, and then plan to binge late at night, and that just was not healthy. I remember spending $175 as a junior in college on a detox program, and I remember doing it, and the results only lasted a week. I still think about that $175, and I wish I didn't waste it on that. It was so stupid. And, I should have known then to stop restricting, but I kept going even after college. When I graduated, I was in a new environment again. I had a full-time job, and there was free food everywhere. Bagels, cereal, Cliff Bars, all this junk around all the time, and I was pretty much making no money. So I would eat that, and I felt terrible about myself. I remember dreading work because there was gonna be free food around, and I would just tell myself, don't eat the bagels, don't eat the bagels. But by 2 p.m., I had 2 bagels already. And there was just this cycle of telling myself, I can't eat this, and then later binging on it or just eating a very large amount of that food. It got to a point where I spent so much time and energy on my appearance and staying within a certain weight range, but it just wasn't adding any value to my life. No matter what, my weight came back, and I successfully dieted. I successfully got toned, and I did all these workout programs, but it never lasted. And I got to this point where why am I doing this? How is this adding value to my life? And there was one point where I quit my job and I had to reevaluate everything, my career and just kind of my entire life. And I realized that focusing on my appearance and my body just wasn't fitting into how I wanted my life to look. So I decided to just stop restricting and stop caring so much. Back then, I didn't know intuitive eating existed. I didn't know that was a phrase. But I remember just being okay, I can eat whatever I want. I'm gonna cook most of my meals, and that's it. Whatever will happen with my body will happen. So obviously it was not easy. This is not an easy thing to do, and it's a journey. It takes a long time. There's many phases. I'm still in the phase right now, 2 years after the fact. But what happened was I started focusing on the things that really brought me joy. So for me, that's I love side hustling, or I loved side hustling back then. I love snowboarding and hanging out with my friends and just doing creative projects. And there was no room in my life to diet or to care so much about my weight or to work out twice a day like I used to. There was no room for it. And all of a sudden I felt I had this extra brain space to put the time and energy and effort that I was putting into dieting into new things that were making my life more full. They say you can't live a full life on an empty stomach, and it's so true. So during that time, I started meal prepping too, and that was more about to save time and money, not to control my food. It never was about that. But the more I the more I got into cooking every week, the more I got into food, and I learned to really love food. And finally, I was exploring things that I had restricted for years, like pasta. I was scared of pasta. I'm sure that if you're watching this right now, you probably understand the feeling. Like, I was scared of pasta, white sugar. I didn't eat like granulated sugar in my house for so long, and now I bake with it like every week, and nothing bad happens. You know, like it is a daily thing where I have to remind myself that what I am eating doesn't affect who I am as a person, and that no matter what happens with my body, because it will change, your body will change like every 10 years, my friends and family still love me. And I still have to remind myself of this every day, but it's been life-changing. So since I've been intuitive eating for about 2 years, I've been the same weight, you know, within the same like 5 pounds for that whole time. It hasn't fluctuated. I don't emotionally eat anymore or binge eat anymore because I know how to deal with my emotions. It's like I'm not using food to make me happy. There's nothing wrong with using food to comfort yourself, as long as you know that food isn't going to solve the actual root of the stress you're feeling. And that's something that it took time to learn, but I no longer turn to food to comfort me in that same way. And, you know, I'm not binging anymore because I know I can have cookies or bagels or whatever anytime I want. It kind of becomes less sexy when you give yourself permission to eat everything. It's kind of like, yeah, you can go, if you can eat a cookie every day, after a while you're just not going to care anymore. And I know that, again, it sounds super easy, but that's how it works. You might not realize it now, but if you're restricting, it's kind of like you're punishing yourself for eating something that made you feel guilty. And the reason you're feeling guilty is because eating something indulgent goes against the rules of dieting. But if there are no rules, you can't break them and you can't feel guilty. So that's how it works. Again, I know it sounds crazy. It sounded crazy to me too in the beginning. I was like, wait, so I can just eat whatever I want? That's not exactly what intuitive eating is, but it's one of the lessons you have to learn along the way. All right, well, that's pretty much my story about intuitive eating, and thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, drop them down there in the comments. I will respond to them. And if you really like this video, shoot me a thumbs up. This year, I plan on putting out a lot more videos, so if you are inclined to hit that subscribe button, go for it if you want to see more from me. And thanks for being here.